Stop chasing that knot in your chest right now. It's the sound of effort pushing her further away. What you're about to hear feels uncomfortable because it flips everything you were taught about desire. I'm going to tell you something most men never hear early enough. Women don't miss what they can easily predict. They miss what quietly improves without asking for permission. When you over-explain, over-exced, over-offer, you're not showing care. You're removing mystery. And mystery is not games. It's self-respect in motion. The female mind is wired to notice contrast. Calm versus chaos. Presence versus pressure. When your attention is scarce because your life is full, curiosity wakes up where interest was asleep. Here's the truth you were never supposed to know. Attraction isn't created by convincing. It's created by emotional gravity. Gravity happens when you stop orbiting her mood and start standing in your own center. You don't withdraw to punish. You withdraw to return to alignment. When a man's emotions are regulated, when his time is structured, when his words are measured, something subtle happens. She starts checking in not because you demanded it, but because your silence feels different. It feels intentional, not needy. Most men confuse availability with value. They think being always there proves reliability. In reality, value is proven by selectivity. Think about how desire works. The mind chases what it can't fully map. If she knows you'll respond instantly, agree instantly, rearrange instantly, her nervous system relaxes into certainty. Certainty is safe, but safety alone doesn't create longing. Longing lives in the space between moments. This is why emotional pacing matters. Slow down your replies, not as a tactic, but as a reflection of a life in motion. Speak with clarity, not volume. End conversations while the energy is still warm. Leave her with an unfinished feeling the same way a great song fades instead of stopping. When you do this consistently, you teach her how to feel around you. Calm, curious, slightly off balance in a good way. And listen closely. Missing you is not about absence alone. It's about the quality of presence you bring when you are there, when you listen without interrupting, when you hold eye contact without seeking approval. When you don't rush to fill silence, you create emotional imprinting. She associates you with relief, with depth, with space. Later, when you're gone, her mind replays that feeling and labels it as you. If she isn't interested right now, that doesn't mean you push harder. It means you stop auditioning. You redirect energy back into your purpose, your health, your standards. Women are drawn to men who choose themselves first, not out of arrogance, but out of grounded direction. When your life expands, her perception shifts. She doesn't feel chased. She feels invited. Remember this line because it changes everything. Desire grows where pressure dies. Become the man whose absence feels like a pause, not a relief. That's when missing you begins. Stay consistent with this standard. Consistency builds trust without chasing. Trust gives her nervous system permission to wonder. Wonder turns into anticipation. Anticipation becomes emotional investment. You don't announce changes. You live them. You don't threaten distance. You embody focus. Over time, the dynamic recalibrates. She notices your steadiness, your warmth, your limits. And in that balance, interest has room to grow organically without pressure, without tricks, without pretending to be anyone other than a man who leads himself. That choice is felt immediately, even when nothing is said out loud, yet inside. Now, let's get deeper, because missing you isn't just about absence. It's about the emotional echo you leave behind. Think of it like this. Every interaction you have is a tiny footprint in her mind. Most men leave smudges, messy, inconsistent, desperate marks that she quickly forgets. The men women remember, they leave clarity. They leave energy that feels rare. That's how you start to create longing. Even if she's not interested yet, here's the first principle most men completely ignore. Your emotional weight matters more than your words. You could text the most poetic line in the world, but if it carries desperation, it evaporates instantly. Women sense emotional energy before they decode the message. Confidence, calm, groundedness. These aren't just attractive traits. they're triggers for curiosity. When she feels that energy, it resonates on a level she can't consciously control. Suddenly, she's thinking about you when she doesn't have to. But let's be real, creating this energy isn't about manipulation. It's about mastery of your own state. A man who misses his own life, who has goals, hobbies, and standards, automatically becomes magnetic. Why? Because he's not waiting for her approval. He's not reacting to her attention or withdrawal. He's not bending his emotional state to fit her schedule. And this is the subtle, invisible leverage most men will never understand. Being missed begins when you stop needing to be needed. Here's a technique that works like magic if you execute it with authenticity. Structure your absence strategically, not because you want her to feel guilty, but because you want her to remember the energy you bring. Don't vanish randomly. Don't ghost out of irritation. Instead, reduce touch points while amplifying value in each interaction. Short, meaningful texts, calls that leave her with a warm afterglow. Presence that feels like a gift, not a default. This is the paradox. Scarcity paired with quality amplifies emotional attachment far beyond availability alone. Now, let's talk contrast, because this is where most men completely fail. She experiences thousands of men who are predictable, who seek attention, who bend over backwards to impress. To stand out, you must be unpredictable in the most controlled way possible. That doesn't mean playing games. That means living in a way that's full, vibrant, and boundary-driven. Show her glimpses of a life she can't replicate or control. Be interesting, not compliant. Be steady, not reactive. The human mind is hardwired to chase what excites it and puzzles it simultaneously. Another layer most men overlook is emotional memory. Every positive emotional experience you create, laughs, playful teasing, moments of comfort, acts like glue in her subconscious. When she is away from you, her mind recalls these energy snapshots. If you've done your work right, she begins to crave that emotional echo without realizing why. The missing begins in the mind first, long before she admits it to herself. Finally, understand this. Urgency kills longing. When a man acts desperate to be remembered, the brain flags him as low value. Instead, cultivate a rhythm where absence has intention, presence has quality, and your internal world remains independent. She doesn't have to chase you. Her mind will do it naturally. She will begin to fill the gaps with thoughts of you, imagining your presence, your energy, your impact. And here's the secret. The stronger your life outside her, the stronger her emotional pull toward you. It's invisible, it's relentless, and it's far more powerful than anything a man can text or say. If you master this, you shift from being a man who hopes to be missed to a man who cannot be ignored. That's when desire wakes long before she admits interest. Now let's break one of the biggest illusions men fall for. Thinking that missing you is triggered by grand gestures, expensive gifts, or constant attention. It's not. Desire isn't bought. It's felt. It's an emotional pull that starts with subtle tension and grows through contrasts. Here's the truth. The women who seem unreachable or not interested are often the ones whose emotional systems respond most strongly to controlled absence, paired with meaningful presence. You don't convince them. You signal value without trying. Think about this. When you respond instantly to everything, when you're always available, you're feeding predictability. Predictability is comfort, not craving. Comfort doesn't make her heart skip. It lulls it to rest. But a man who holds his energy, who doesn't bend to every mood, creates a psychological friction she can't ignore. Her subconscious notices this gap, this difference between what she expects and what she experiences. That gap is where longing grows. That gap is where desire becomes impossible to resist. Here's where emotional boundaries come in. Every man has a give space, take space ratio, but most get it backwards. They give endlessly, take reluctantly. To make any woman miss you badly, you must reverse that. Give attention sparingly with intention. Hold your life, your plans, your joy as non-negotiable. Let her curiosity rise because she can't predict when you'll be present next. Scarcity doesn't mean cruelty. It means you value yourself and your time more than validation from her. That's magnetic. Another psychological trigger most men overlook: the pause after connection. After a deep laugh, after a moment of genuine intimacy, after a shared secret, don't rush to fill silence with text or calls. Give her mind space to replay the moment. Let her feel the emotional imprint of being with you. Women are wired to replay emotional highs. When the stimulus disappears, your absence here isn't neglect, it's amplification. She's already been given a taste of your energy. Now she craves the continuation, but she must wait for it. That delay intensifies the pull. Then there's the emotional mirror effect. A woman subconsciously measures the energy you give against the energy you hold back. If you reveal everything at once, she experiences no contrast. If you balance giving warmth with maintaining boundaries, she starts wondering, what does he think of me? What does he really feel? Why does he make me feel this way? Questions like these unanswered create mental loops. And mental loops, that's where missing begins. Here's a practical frame. Do not overcommunicate. Do not clarify everything. Do not respond to every little doubt or testing message. Let her uncertainty exist in a safe, non-threatening way. Women are drawn to men who create predictable unpredictability. A man whose life is full, whose attention is selective, and whose energy is consistent but not dependent on her reactions. That's when intrigue turns into longing. That's when even a woman who seems indifferent begins replaying your presence, thinking of you at unexpected times, and realizing without admitting it that something about you matters more than she expected. Finally, remember this: missing you is a reaction, not an obligation. It's emotional gravity, not a rule. The deeper your self-mastery, the more natural the pull, the more grounded your life, the stronger her subconscious magnet toward you becomes. You don't need to chase her. You need to exist as a man she can't help but feel, even when you're not there. That subtle, invisible presence is the heart of desire, and it's how any woman, no matter how disinterested at first, starts to truly miss you. Here's where most men completely fail. They confuse attention with connection. They think being liked, being noticed, or being there constantly will make a woman miss them. But desire doesn't work that way. Missing you isn't about being present. It's about being memorable, impactful, and emotionally resonant. Think of it like this: a single unforgettable moment leaves a heavier footprint than 100 ordinary interactions. Your goal is to create those moments. Not quantity, but quality that lingers. You have to understand the way a woman's mind processes absence. She doesn't miss the man who is easy, predictable, and always available. She misses the man whose presence shifted something inside her, who made her feel alive, curious, or understood in a way no one else has. That shift doesn't require effort from you. It requires mastery of your energy. Emotional control, calmness, and consistent boundaries are more seductive than anything flashy or forced. Let's break down the invisible psychology behind it. Women are wired to notice subtle contrasts. If you overcommunicate, over-explain, or over-apologize, you remove tension. You remove friction. Friction creates anticipation. Anticipation fuels desire. When you step back, not to punish, but to live your life fully, she experiences a void, a missing piece. Her mind naturally begins to fill that void with your presence. That's how missing grows. It's not manipulation. It's creating emotional resonance that she can't ignore. Now, here's another truth. Most men don't grasp. Consistency amplifies intrigue, but not in the way you think. Being consistent doesn't mean predictable availability. It means being consistent in your energy, your standards, your calmness. She sees that you have a life, priorities, and principles that don't bend at the slightest whim. That stability creates subconscious admiration. Admiration evolves into curiosity. Curiosity evolves into longing. The key is to let her brain do the work without overtly pushing her. One of the most overlooked tools is emotional recall. Every laugh you shared, every confident glance, every moment you made her feel seen or challenged, these are mental bookmarks. When you step away, even briefly, her mind replays those bookmarks. That replay triggers subtle emotional attachment. It doesn't happen instantly, but over time, the cumulative effect is powerful. She starts to anticipate interactions, think of you in quiet moments, and wonder about what you're doing without even realizing she's being drawn closer. Here's the harsh reality most men avoid. If you overpursue, you kill desire. Desire grows in the absence of need. The more you chase, the more predictable you become, and predictability kills curiosity. Instead, create controlled absence. Live your life fully. Pursue goals, friendships, passions, and experiences without reference to her. And when you reconnect, make each interaction meaningful. Short, impactful, emotionally charged exchanges leave her mind spinning long after the conversation ends. Finally, understand this. Being missed is not a trick. It's a byproduct of emotional gravity. Your life, your standards, your energy. These create an invisible pull. A woman begins to feel your absence, not because she's forced, but because your presence touched a part of her emotional system that no one else has. The more self-contained, intriguing, and high-value your life, the stronger that pull becomes. And when she begins to feel that pull, even if she's not interested today, the longing will grow until it demands attention without a single ounce of chasing. At this point, she isn't missing a man. She's missing your energy, your presence, the way you make her feel alive, and that distinction changes everything. Now, we reach the final layer, the part most men never understand. Yet, it's the most powerful. The emotional architecture of absence and desire. Making a woman miss you badly, even if she's not interested, isn't about manipulation. It's about becoming a man whose energy leaves a lasting imprint, an imprint that her subconscious can't ignore, even when she tries to. This is where mastery of yourself, not tactics, creates true longing. Let's start with a fundamental truth. Emotional intensity beats effort every time. Women remember how you made them feel far longer than what you said or did. That means you don't need to over-explain, over-ext, or overcompensate. Your goal is not to convince her, but to create experiences that linger. A single meaningful interaction where you show calm confidence, emotional clarity, and subtle warmth can echo in her mind for days, even weeks. That echo is the seed of missing you. Here's the critical distinction most men miss. Presence creates connection, but absence amplifies it. When your life is full, your attention is selective, and your energy is measured. You create a magnetic pull. Women notice patterns, not moments. They sense when a man's life flows independently of their approval. That independence isn't arrogance. It's grounded power. And when they notice it, their mind starts replaying interactions, remembering the way your energy made them feel, wondering why they feel that pull, and unconsciously craving more. The next level is emotional pacing. After moments of connection, humor, or shared intimacy, step back without overanalyzing. Let your absence give her space to reflect on what just happened. Don't rush to fill the void with explanations, apologies, or messages. The human brain naturally fills gaps with memory and imagination. By creating space after connection, you give her mind permission to amplify the emotional impact. That's how longing grows organically without force. Now understand contrast. If you are always predictable, always available, always reacting, desire dies. But if you balance warmth with boundaries, approach with restraint, and presence with absence, you create intrigue. Intrigue leads to anticipation. Anticipation leads to subconscious preoccupation. And preoccupation is the essence of missing someone. She begins to think of you at random moments, imagining your presence, feeling the emotional resonance you created, and wondering when she'll experience it again. Finally, internalize this. You cannot manufacture desire, but you can cultivate conditions for it to grow. Your life, your energy, your standards, and your emotional control become the invisible gravity that pulls her attention. The stronger and more complete your life outside of her, the more she will feel the gap when you're gone. She may resist it consciously, but her subconscious can't ignore it. That's why even a woman who seems uninterested today can begin to miss you badly tomorrow. Because missing you is not about chasing her. It's about being a man she can't stop thinking about, even when she's not thinking about you consciously. So, here's your action. Live fully, give selectively, Pause meaningfully and hold your energy steady. That's how desire grows. That's how absence becomes magnetic. And that's how any woman, even one who isn't initially interested, begins to feel a pull she can't resist. Now, I want you to reflect. If your life, your energy, and your focus were 100% aligned with your goals, relationships, and purpose, how much stronger would your presence feel to her? Multiply your current impact by that alignment, and tell me your answer in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend who needs to hear this, because mastering this mindset changes